Part of asking questions as we read is asking them as we read. So we want to kind of stop and think about things as we're going through a text, not kind of just reading and then at the end saying, I wonder what questions I have. So it's an ongoing process of keeping track of what you're learning and asking yourselves questions as you read. So we're going to do that together as we look at what happens between the Wampanoag and other native tribes and the English colonists at Plymouth and in the rest of Massachusetts as the English colony begins to or continues to increase. So let's read together. When Massasoit was still chief of the Wampanoag, he tried to keep the peace. After his death in 1661, his son, Metacom, also known as King Philip, became the leader of the Wampanoag. So I'm going to stop there because I know that there's a lot that I was just reading kind of like shoved into those two sentences. And I want to make sure that, number one, I understand it before I continue. And number two, I start thinking about what it means and seeing what questions I may have. So it says, when Massasoit was still chief, so was still chief, meaning he's not chief anymore. Okay, so that's one thing that we're going to look at. So he still tried to keep the peace. So if he's not chief, I want to know what happened to him. Okay, what happened to him? Why is he not chief anymore? And he still tried to keep the peace. So there's this word tried. So if we see this word tried, that makes me think that it's not something that's automatically happening. So why does he have to try to keep the peace? Okay, what's going on that's not allowing them to be peaceful? So, here we go. Here's an answer to my question. After his death. So I wondered what happened to him. Well, now I know that he died. Okay, so I have an answer to my question. I don't know how he died, though, so I'm curious. I'm assuming it's just because he was old, but, I don't know that for sure. In 1661, his son, Metacom, also known as King Philip, became the leader of the Wampanoag. So I think it's interesting here that he has two names. And I wonder why he has two names. I think one might be an English name, it sounds like, King Philip. So I wonder why they call him King Philip. So that's a question that I might have to find the answer to. But I did find out that he became the leader of the Wampanoag. King Philip hated the English for taking so much land. I don't really have a question about that. That seems to make sense. He was afraid that if he didn't stop the English, his people would have no land left to call their home. Because of this, he believed he had to remove the English from America. All right, now here's a question. How is he planning on doing that? What is he going to do? How is he going to remove the English from America? Is there going to be a war? Is he going to kindly ask them to leave? Is he going to scare them away? Like, what's going to happen? I know they're getting pretty powerful, so I don't think he can just ask them to leave. When the English colonists began to realize Philip was becoming a threat to them, they arrested him and forced him and his people to give them their weapons. So that's interesting. So they forced him to do it, so that must mean he did it. So, I might want to check with that. Did he actually give them his weapons? And they had to force him to do it, which, I wonder, he probably wasn't happy about it if they had to force him to do it. I wonder how they forced him to do it. How did they force him to give up his weapons? Philip was angry at the English, saying that they are not content or happy with what they have and keep taking more. Realizing he would need help to fight against the English, Philip began to go to other tribes in the area, convincing them to join him in driving the English out of America. So again, that's interesting. I wonder, who did he get for allies? How did he convince them to join him? And how is he going to drive the English out of America? It sounds to me like war is coming. And I wonder what's going to happen.